To prevent another global catastrophe after World War I, the victorious powers established the League of Nations. The League of Nations was an international peacekeeping organization designed to settle disputes through diplomacy rather than force. The peace settlements left deep international resentments. The Treaty of Versailles stripped Germany of 13% of its home territory and imposed heavy financial reparations. Italy and Japan, despite fighting alongside the Allies, were denied the territorial rewards and racial equality clauses they demanded during negotiations. The global economic collapse of the Great Depression severely weakened democratic governments. Across the world, populations lost faith in liberal democracy and turned toward authoritarian regimes, which solved massive unemployment crises through aggressive, state-sponsored military rearmament. The international system quickly proved it lacked teeth. Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931, and Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935. The League of Nations offered weak sanctions and failed to deploy military force to stop either invasion. Expansionist leaders recognized this paralysis. Without a credible threat of military retaliation, these regimes realized they could seize territory and resources with complete impunity. This map shows the geographic wedge driven through Europe in October 1936, when Germany and Italy formalized their shared ideologies by creating the Rome-Berlin Axis. The Axis was a military and political coalition that sought to overturn the post-World War I international order. A month later, Germany and Japan signed the Anti-Comintern Pact. The Anti-Comintern Pact was a treaty primarily directed against the communist Soviet Union. Italy joined the following year, linking Europe and East Asia into a shared ideological front. Desperate to avoid another war, Britain and France pursued a policy of appeasement. In the 1938 Munich Agreement, they conceded the Sudetenland to Germany in exchange for a promise that Adolf Hitler would make no further territorial demands. That promise was broken. In August 1939, Germany and the Soviet Union shocked the globe by signing the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. Though nominally a non-aggression treaty between bitter ideological enemies, it contained a secret protocol that divided the independent nations of Eastern Europe into German and Soviet spheres of influence. These interconnected agreements stripped away the final diplomatic guardrails. Because of these overlapping pacts, any localized border dispute would instantly drag multiple massive military powers into the fight. On September 1, 1939, Germany utilized its pact with the Soviets to invade Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France honored their defense guarantees to the Polish government and declared war on Germany. By September 17, the Soviet Union invaded Poland from the east, fulfilling their secret partition agreement and erasing the Polish state. In 1940, German forces quickly conquered France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, leaving Britain isolated in Europe. Then, on June 22, 1941, Hitler broke his non-aggression agreement with Joseph Stalin and launched Operation Barbarossa. Operation Barbarossa was the code name for the massive Axis invasion of the Soviet Union, aimed at conquering its western territories and eradicating communism. Facing annihilation, Stalin was forced into a pragmatic, survival-based military alliance with the British Empire. In December 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, pulling the neutral United States directly into the conflict. Japan launched simultaneous offensives across Southeast Asia, attacking British and American territories. This merged the European and Pacific conflicts into a single theater of combat. By attacking the Soviet Union and the United States, the Axis powers forced these isolated conflicts to fuse into a single global war against massive industrial economies. On January 1, 1942, the Allied coalition formalized its goals through the declaration by United Nations. The Big Four powers, the United States, the United Kingdom, the Soviet Union, and China, set aside profound ideological differences to defeat a shared existential threat. This map illustrates how the conflict formally divided the globe. 22 smaller nations and exiled governments signed the pact, splitting the world's population into two distinct, heavily armed camps. These survival-driven treaties secured an Allied victory. They also established the United Nations, elevated the US and the Soviet Union to rival superpowers, and built the exact geopolitical framework for the Cold War.